Hi everybody, Daniel here, and welcome back to another video. In this video I want to talk about dreams, lucid dreaming specifically, how I learned to lucid dream and sort of the progression and my experiences along the way that kind of led me to where I am today with the whole dream thing. Before we go too much into it or too far into this, I just want to give a little description of what dreams are. Some dreams are, as far as I understand. Now, dreams in general are mad. Like we've had dreams that are just mental, and if we try and think about them too long, we'll be lost. We'll be like, well, what could that possibly mean? I'm not even going to go into some of the dreams that I've had, which have just been completely convoluted, and I'm unable to find any sort of meaning in them, even though there probably is. When it comes to dreams, mostly they present themselves symbolically, and as the saying goes, a picture speaks 1,000 words. Nearly forgot it there, but a symbol paints 1,000 pictures, and so within one symbol we could find so many meanings, and it really does take some sort of retrospective investigation inwardly to really find what the dream is actually saying to you. For example, when I was younger, I used to have recurring dreams. That's another thing we need to talk about and go into. Recurring dreams are very important in the grander scheme of things, because life is really trying to show you something. One of my recurring dreams when I was younger was water, tidal waves, being dropped into the water from above and just being submerged by this water and being generally engulfed with this anxiety. Following my investigation, searching online, looking into dream interpretations and those kind of things, I was able to find out that dreams involving water related to emotion, and what the dream suggested, and that's the key word here, suggests. Most of the time the symbols in the dreams suggests certain things. For me, what it was suggesting was that I was becoming overwhelmed, engulfed by all of this emotion. Now, me as a youngster, if you knew me, and I'm sure I've got some friends and family who knew me like that, probably laugh about it, but as soon as there was any sort of heavy, intense emotion in any sort of situation or circumstance, like, Dan was out of there. Like, it was too much. I mean, and at the time I didn't understand that about myself. I wasn't conscious of what was happening inside of me, and therefore life took over and provided me with an opportunity to see that aspect of myself in the dream world. This is why I say sometimes these dreams, they're a sort of medicine for our consciousness, and if we take the opportunity to actually ingest that medicine, we can often extract some really useful meanings out of them. Eventually, I learned that, as I said, the dreams were to do with emotion and being overwhelmed and whatnot, and even whilst I was awake I couldn't integrate those ideas, and so I would still have this dream where I would just be chilling, just normally, like a standard day, or in the dream things are quite normal, and then there'd just be this huge tidal wave and it would just overwhelm you and engulf you, and then you're underwater, and now I'm under the water and I can't breathe, and I need to make it to the surface because I can't breathe, and it's really, it creates so much anxiety. And then I'll make it to the top, and then just before I get to the actual top of the water, it's like I have to take a breath in, otherwise I'm gonna drown, but luckily enough I realized I could breathe underwater. And this was the first stage in terms of me becoming aware of being able to do certain things specifically within a dream. This is the preface of lucid dreaming. This is how I got there. This is the beginning. Eventually, the dreams would just begin, and I'd fall from the sky, drop in straight into the water, and it would always begin with this massive splash, and I'll be in the water and I'll be going down, 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 and I'll be saying to myself, I hope I reach the bottom soon, because my thing was that once I got in the water, if I reached the bottom, the floor, I could use my feet to kick off and give myself a boost, and then I could swim to the top, get there quicker, get my head above the water and actually breathe. Now, one particular day I was having this dream, and I'll never forget it. The same thing happened. Dream began, I was in the air, here we go, going down again, and you develop this sense of familiarity, you develop this recognition, this knowing that if it's not, even if it's not conscious, that a part of me was aware that, okay, we're doing this again now. Almost like, okay, we're taking the test again. You don't give it those words whilst it's happening, but there's this part of you that generates this familiarity. And so we're going down a splash, and we're going down, and I'm saying we've done this a million times before. All we need to do is go to the ground, reach the floor, push up, and we get out of here, and the whole thing ends. But this particular time, as I'm going down, it was the same. I knew what I was going to do. I was going to kick off and get out of this dream. But just as I was reaching the floor, something said to me, don't kick up this time. Curve your legs around and let yourself lay on the seabed. And the irrational and illogical part of me decided to oblige, and I said okay. And I did it. I laid down there and I took in my surroundings, and what I was shown was the most beautiful underwater scene. There were corals, like a garden of corals, and fish like Nemo and Dory were doing their thing. It was beautiful. Like, it was the most amazing thing. And I was laying there like on my side like this. I remember it clearly, and I was just amazed at how awesome it was and how amazing it felt. And yeah, after that, the dream kind of stopped. Like I would have those dreams very fleetingly, few and far between. And so what did I learn from that? I believe that the dream was trying to show me that in my waking life, whilst I experienced emotion quite intensely and overwhelmingly, that whilst my reaction to this overwhelming and intense emotions was to run, or there was anxiety, I can't handle this, it's too much, get me out type thing, the dream, I believe, was trying to show me that there was a lot of beauty to be found by immersing yourself within those emotions, not being afraid of those emotions, to allow those emotions to come, to arise and to flow. You know, it's trying to divert the current of a river. It takes so much effort to do that. The best thing to do is to go with the flow, to allow it to flow. Now, my younger self wasn't able to understand that, and to be honest with you, my younger self still didn't understand that, or my younger self just knew that we had a bomb-ass dream, laid at the bottom of this ocean and saw some brilliant scenes. Like, that's all we knew at the time. But with time, understanding, maturity, you begin to recognize what these messages are, and you begin to see that, yeah, okay, message received. If there's one thing that we can be sure about when it comes to life, is that it makes it pretty damn obvious eventually when we're walking down a road that's not meant for us. Okay, no, it will whisper at first. It'll be like, Dan, you should probably pay attention to this. Dan, you're not listening. Dan, pay attention, because we're gonna get creative. Alright, this guy's not lifting. Whoosh! Out comes the carpet. Next thing you know, you're face down on the floor and you're like, okay, I've been walking down in the wrong direction now, man. Yeah. Anyway, I kind of went off in a little bit of a tangent there. I just should probably pre-warn you, I'm prone to doing that. So we'll just rewind it back. What I want to do is just show you the wiki explanation of lucid dreaming, because we're getting into that. I'll refer back to these dreams that I'm talking about now, because how I become lucid has everything to do with discomfort within the dream. As we'll learn, discomfort became my trigger to consciousness, and it's what made me become aware that I was actually within the dream world. So let's look at what Wikipedia says about dreaming, or lucid dreaming for that matter. Okay, now according to Wikipedia, a lucid dream is a dream during which the dreamer is aware that they are dreaming. During a lucid dream, the dreamer may gain some awareness or control over the dream, such as the characters, narrative, and environment. However, this is not necessarily a dream to be described as lucid. How did I learn to lucid dream then? Well, as I said, it was the discomfort that I experienced within the dream that I developed a familiarity with. It became the thing that triggered me to consciousness, and there's actually a theme throughout my life where discomfort became the greatest triggers to consciousness for me. And again, we'll go into all that in another video. For today, I'm trying to keep it to the dream. So I want to tell you about another recurring dream that I used to have, and ultimately led to me becoming lucid within the dreams. Now, I used to have a dream where I would be going somewhere and I'd want to get there quickly, but my legs won't carry me fast. It's like all I could do, I wanted to run as fast as I could. I wanted to be like Flash, but my legs wouldn't have it. It was like running through toffee or fudge. You just, no matter how much you tried to move your arms, your arms could do all of this, but your legs just not going nowhere. And it just became some of the most frustrating thing in the world. It was just really annoying, and it happened so regularly that it got to a stage where I'll be in the dream and I'll be trying to go somewhere and I'm like, oh, this again. And then one day in the dream I said, hold on a minute, this only happens when I'm dreaming. And I stopped and I looked around and I said, this is a dream. Is this a dream? I remember exactly what the dream was. Now, the dream theme at the time is that I was in some sort of race. I wasn't in a race. I was with a good friend of mine actually in the dream, and we was running through a local park. It doesn't look exactly how we look today. In fact, it didn't look how we looked then either, but it was a symbolic representation, another construct of my mind that created the park in that way. Anyway, so we was running, and I just remember I wasn't able to generate that momentum that I really wanted, and it was, hold on, this is a dream. So I stopped running, and the people I was with like carried on ahead, and I stopped to look around and I said, hold on a minute, like this is a dream. Oh my gosh, this is a dream. I did it. I broke through. Like I'm in a dream. Like, oh gosh, like what should I do? I was like, right, I'm in a dream. I'm gonna fly. So then I was like, how do I fly? Needless to say, I wasn't able to fly. Well, not on that attempt. I could go into all the details of my flight journey and how I learned to fly. I can go into all of that if you like, but yeah, that was how I became lucid. It became the dreams that became uncomfortable and generated the feelings of anxiety or experiences that I didn't necessarily enjoy. Those were the things that snapped me into consciousness to make me become aware and present to what was actually taking place around me. This is actually reflected in my waking life as well, and this is why discomfort can be a fantastic tool if you learn to develop your relationship with it. But as I said, we'll go into that in another video. Now, a few dreams down the line and a lot more times of being lucid, I learned how to fly. The first thing was me getting off the ground, and I did it. It's fantastic. It's like, wow, I'm off the ground, I'm floating, I'm in the sky. But then it was, how do I get down? How do I go left and right? And you're like, geez, I'm going to be up here for ages. But then I was slowly going down. And that dream particularly, I landed on a roof. And interestingly enough, I lost lucidity. And it's like I rejoined a dream theme. That particular dream, I actually remember, my dad was on the roof for some reason. There was a small shed type hut. And we went into that shed, and it was this gypsy looking lady. I'm really sorry if that's an offensive term. It was a lady with like a crystal ball, and she had the whole get up, and she had all these crystals on the shelves and what have you, and she was there to provide some sort of insight for us. And yeah, my consciousness, or at least lucidity, faded and the dream theme took over. That was interesting to experience. But following on from that, there were subsequent dreams where I was able to get up off the ground, do my Superman thing where you're zooming through the sky, and I did it a few times, and it got to the point where I was not fully happy with the whole flying thing, but not dissatisfied at the same time. I wanted more, I wanted to do more, I wanted to know how to take it to the next level, so to speak. And so what came next? In a lucid dream, you are able to completely change the scenery. Everything is basically your playground. You can do to the scenery whatever you like. And so once I was able to fly and get all of that down, like I said, I was left with the choice of, okay, I want to do something new now. Okay, I'm back in a dream, I'm lucid. Today I'm going to change the scenery of the dream. Let's see how that plays out. And so you're there and you're like, okay, awesome, I'm lucid, don't want to fly, I'm going to change the scenery. Great, exciting. Change it to what? and the extent of my imagination at that time was literally to just turn everything white. And so I closed my eyes and I thought, how am I going to do this? I don't know how it's going to work, but I'll just like everything white. I just willed it into being, and I opened my eyes and it was literally like being in a cloud. You know, if you're on an airplane and you're going through a cloud, you look out the window, it's just white. And that's what I had done. And then I was like, okay, so if I'm going to build the landscape, where do I begin? And then I became distinctly aware of how much effort that took. And it was like, crikey, like the design and effort that's been put into the world as we live it, like that is a serious amount of effort, and maybe not effort for the heightened being that created it, but someone like me. And so yeah, I literally probably put too much weight on myself and just snapped out of the dream. But that's pretty much the long and short of my lucid dreaming journeys. There's a lot more detail in between, as you could imagine. I could go into all of it, but then this video would probably turn into something that goes on for way too long. So I'm glad you listened to this point, if you did. If you've become lucid before in a dream, I'd love to hear from it. I'd love to hear about it. If you put it down in the comments, I'd love to read about your experiences, or if you have any questions about lucid dreaming, or any sort of queries about lucid dreaming, I'd be happy to give you my perspective. And that's leading nicely into something that I want to just say as well. Everything that I talk about in this video is literally from my perspective. All perspectives are valid. This is simply mine. This is my angle, my perspective, all of that stuff. And so yeah, if you are interested in trying to become lucid, or to practice becoming lucid in dreams, one way to do it, one way that I went about it, one way that life brought about that scenario for me, was to use the discomfort that the dreams would provide as my triggers to consciousness. The regular discomfort that these recurring dreams would provide, it became, as I said, those triggers to awareness and consciousness, and led me to asking the question,